I was given a music scholarship, and I went to Arizona State also. And after about the first few months of being in college, it just really didn't pan out to be for me. There were a lot of inconsistencies and things that were going on politically in the school, and things that had to do with my family that kind of upset my tenure in the school. So I was, looking beyond the college situation, and so I asked one of the guys in the stage band. This was about, it was late March of 1970. I asked this one kid that's in the stage band with me, I said, say, Ramon, I said, you know where Jimmy Miller is? And I said, I'd really love to go see the Gringos. And he said, as a matter of fact, yeah, they're down in Tucson right now. And I went, really? And little did I realize that the very next day, Jimmy was knocking on my door looking for me. And I couldn't believe it. I had a strange roommate. He was kind of quirky from Brooklyn. And he says to me, hey, there's this guy that was looking for you today. And I went, who? And he said, some guy named Jimmy Miller. I went, not Jimmy Miller, the Gringos. He said, well, he didn't say who he was with. He just said his name was Jimmy Miller. And I said, did you get a phone number? And he said, I think I got it here someplace. I went, what? And he said, yeah, oh yeah, I scribbled it down. Well, my roommate was a real stoner, and he didn't quite keep track of things that organized or that well, but I did manage to get the phone number. So I called Jimmy up right away, and I said, hey man, I said, it's Lynn Tivens. And he said, well, I'm in need of a trombone player. The members of my current band are, they're leaving, and I need to put together a new group. And I said, well, great. And he said, can you make it down to Mr. Lucky's? And I said, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So I couldn't get down there because I didn't have a car. My car was in the shop. It wasn't working. So I walked across campus, and I rented a car. And I drove out to Mr. Lucky's, but I was about an hour late to the rehearsal. I was banging on the door at Mr. Lucky's, and no one was letting me in. Finally, Bob Sikora, through the intercom says, who's there? And I said, my name's Lynn Tivens. I'm looking for Jimmy Miller and the Gringos. And he says, one moment, please. And I'm waiting, and finally Charlie sticks his head through the door, and he says, who are you? And I said, my name's Lynn Tivens. I play trombone. And Jimmy wanted me to come down and see about possibly working with him. He said, thought you didn't have a car. I said, well, I had to rent one. And he said, you rented a car? He said, they're downstairs. And I heard Charlie talking to Jimmy on the side, and he says, I don't care if this kid can't play a note. He rented a car to get down here. Hire him. And I said to Jimmy, I can play.